If you felt like the entire world of media just got completely upended in 2025, well, you were right. It felt like one day we were seeing a few kind of quirky AI video experiments, and the next, there was this absolute explosion of content. And it wasn't made with cameras, it was made with code. This wasn't just some new trend, you guys, it was a tidal wave.
And that really just nails the feeling, doesn't it? This quote from the New York Times, it sums up the sheer scale of what went down. This wasn't a small step, like going from HD to 4K. No, this was a complete rewriting of the rules, a whole new way to create, and it felt like it happened overnight.
So yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? How did this happen so incredibly fast? In this explainer, we're going to break it all down. First, we're going to look at the mind-boggling scale of this 2025 video explosion. Then we'll pull back the curtain on the tech itself and see how we're basically teaching AI to dream. After that, we'll dive into the incredible new creative age this has unleashed. And finally, we're going to have to confront the really serious challenge it's created, a coming crisis of trust.
Okay, so first things first, let's just talk about the scale. To really get what this revolution means, you have to appreciate just how massive and how unbelievably sudden it all was.
800%. That is the growth in AI-generated video content that was uploaded online in 2025. This wasn't just steady growth, this was a rocket launch. It completely flooded our feeds and changed the very fabric of the internet.
So why now? What created this perfect storm? Well, it was a few key things all hitting at once. The tech underneath it all, these things called diffusion models, which basically learned to build images out of static, got ridiculously good. Then, they were trained on these gigantic data sets of video, and we finally had enough raw computing power to make it all happen. But honestly, the real kicker? It's this last one: public access. Suddenly, tools like OpenAI's Sora and HeyGen put this revolutionary power into the hands of millions of regular people.
All right, let's move on and get into how this stuff actually works. Because when you really get down to it, the technology feels less like engineering and, more like some kind of digital magic. We are literally teaching machines how to visualize what we're thinking.
And at the heart of it all is this one core idea: text to video. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You have a model that takes your words, your ideas, your descriptions, and just translates them directly into moving pictures. You write a sentence, and a machine literally builds a world from it.
What's so wild is how simple it is on our end. You write a prompt, something kind of crazy like a golden retriever giving a TED talk on a stage in space. The AI model then has to figure out all the different pieces of that sentence: the dog, the stage, what a TED talk looks like, the whole cosmic background, and then it just starts generating it frame by painstaking frame until your idea is a real video you can watch.
And by 2025, it wasn't just one tool. A whole ecosystem of these things popped up, and they all had their own specialty. You had OpenAI's Sora, which was the king of making things look real. Jaw-droppingly photorealistic. Then you had HeyGen, which focused on AI avatars and cloning voices, which was perfect for things like corporate training videos. And then tools like Pika Labs gave artists this incredible fine-tuned control over animation and style.
Now, this explosion of new tools did way more than just create a bunch of new videos. It unlocked a completely new era for creativity. It basically made high-level video production accessible to pretty much anyone.
And this right here is why this matters so much. For decades, if you wanted to make a high-quality video, you needed a huge budget and a whole team of specialists. But this technology completely democratizes storytelling. A teacher can now whip up an animated history lesson in an afternoon. A small business can make a professional-looking commercial for a few bucks. It is a total, absolute game changer.
The difference is it's stark. The old way, you needed expensive cameras, a crew, super specialized skills, and weeks, maybe months of work. The new way? A monthly subscription fee, a couple of hours of your time, and just the ability to write a clear sentence. The barriers to entry, they haven't just been lowered, they've been completely obliterated.
And if you need an even clearer picture, just look at these numbers. The average cost for a professional ad shoot could easily run you $50,000. With AI, you can get a pretty comparable result for $50. 50. That is 1,000 times cheaper. This doesn't just lower the cost, it completely rewrites the economics of media.
But, and this is a big but, with all this incredible new power comes an equally incredible and kind of scary challenge. As we start to fill our world with synthetic media, we run headfirst into a huge problem with a very old idea: truth. So get this, by 2027,
Some researchers are projecting that this number, 45%, could be the amount of synthetic video you see in your social media feed. Just let that sink in for a second. Nearly half of what you scroll through might not be real. It might have never actually happened.
Now, for the time being, we can often still spot the fakes if we look really closely. The BBC and a bunch of researchers have pointed out some key tells. You gotta watch for physics that just feel a little off, or for objects in the background that kind of change or disappear. And of course, there's that uncanny valley feeling, especially with faces and hands. Oh, and look for text. AI is still really bad at making words or symbols that actually make sense.
But here's the catch. Just as we're learning how to spot the fakes are getting better. A lot better. This quote from a research paper just sums it up perfectly. It's an arms race. The technology to create these things is moving just as fast, maybe even faster, than our technology to detect them.
So you see the problem, right? This isn't something we can just solve. It's a whole new reality that we have to learn to navigate. And that's going to require new tools, new skills, and honestly, a whole new way of thinking about the stuff we see every single day.
So looking ahead, researchers are predicting a pretty wild and turbulent few years. It's not crazy to think that by 2026, we could see an AI film nominated for an Oscar. By 2028, you might be generating video in real time, maybe even interacting with it. And by 2030, we'll probably see a huge push for some kind of verifiable media credential, like a digital watermark, just to help us tell what's real and what's not.
And all of this, it leaves us with this one final massive question. For more than 100 years, we've lived by the saying, seeing is believing. But we're walking into an era where that's just not true anymore. When any video can be created from scratch, when our own eyes can be so easily fooled, what becomes our new standard for proof? What on earth will we choose to believe?